Kein Lynchien, seien herabgekommene Chevre junge Gesellen, was die jüdische Waldhändler in der Gegend haben herabgebracht. Sie sollen ausarbeiten Schindeln. To Lynchien arrived a group of young apprentices whom the Jewish forest merchants of the neighborhood had brought in order to make shingles. Suddenly the English escapes me. Shingles. That's something you make from wood, right?
Okay, yeah.
Hinteren Städtel haben sie lange Schoppes ausgebeut, unter welche sie haben geschnitten Holz, geschnitzt schindlich, gefigert und gereinigt sie. Outside the town, they set up long huts, barns or sheds, under which they cut wood, they carved shingles, gefigert. Figaven is not in my dictionary. Any idea?
No.
Well, they did whatever that is. I'll just check in the Bach there while I'm right here. It's not in Bachner either. Okay, so there was something at one stage of building shingles, and they washed them. Die etliche zendlich Schindelmacher haben zugezogen zu sich die städteldicke Schneider und Schusterjungen, die heimische Gesellen, und abgerät sie von Jüdischkeit. The several dozen shingle makers attracted to themselves the tailor and shoemaker apprentices of the town, the ones who were local, and they drew them away from Yiddishkeit, from Jewishness, from religiosity. Die heimische Gesellen haben aufgehört davenen. The apprentices of the town stopped davening. Genommen gollen die Bärdlach. They began to shave off their beards. Untan sich papierene Kellnerlach and Herzlach. They started putting on paper collars. I guess that's the non-Jewish dress mode then. And Herzlach, and little hearts. I'm not sure what sort of clothing that is. Batsieren zere hitlich mit seidene Bändelach. They decorated their caps with
ribbons.
Yeah,
strings.
ribbons, yes, but Zaid is it's not silk. Thank you, silk. When I'm doing Yiddish, the English just disappears. With silk ribbons.
Yeah.
Kürzen die Kapottes bis die Knie, and to shorten their long coats down up to the point of the knee. Zudem haben die Schindelmacher sich zunächst gesammelt in die Schabbosim, getrunken Bier, getanzt und gesungen Hefkerlieder. In addition, these shingle makers gathered together on Saturdays, drinking beer, dancing, and singing Hefkerlieder, nonsense songs, but worthless songs.
How about dirty songs?
It could be dirty songs. It could be love songs also. It's Hefker just means ownerless, literally. So
yeah, okay.
As opposed to religious songs, anyway.
Okay,
Let's
yeah.
say secular songs.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Sie haben euch verspreit Bichlich und Blättlich. They also distributed pamphlets and little books and pamphlets. Zwischen die Liedlich, was sie pflegen singen, ist gewesen eins, was hat Chäusig gemacht von Chassidim. So lieb sehr Simche war arrestieren Streikers. Among the little songs that they used to sing, there was one which made fun of the Chassidim. because of their joy at arresting strikers. Ich gedenk noch ein Strophe von Ottem Liedl. I remember only one verse of this particular song. Sisu v'simcha, sisu v'simchu, b'simchas teure, mahot schon far die Strikers nicht kemoire. Be joyous and happy on Simchas Torah, because because we have no fear of strikers. Das zweite Liedl is given wegen Kaiser allein. Now the next song was about the Tsar himself. Nächten hat geführt a Wegele mit Keulen. Heint is König über Peulen. Nächten hat geführt a Wegele mit Mist. Heint is a capitalist. Yesterday he was dragging a cart of coals, but today he's already the king of Poland. Yesterday he was dragging a cart of garbage or dung. Today he's become a capitalist. Aus solche Lieder pflegen die Jungen, die Schindelmacher singen. Von was jeden pflegen wären, von was jeden pflegen wären aufgezittert. Soll nicht bringen kein Unglück auf Kohl. That's the sort of songs that the youngsters, the shingle makers, used to sing, and which the Jews used to get all a tremble because of, that they shouldn't bring misfortune to the community. Die Schindelmacher pflegen euch lachen zu Mädlich, unreden sie zu gehen mit sie spazieren und tanzen. The shingle makers also used to laugh at with the young girls and to convince them to go walking with them and to dance. Die Jungen haben euch abgetan allerlei spitzlich und letzonnes. The youngsters also did all sorts of pranks and jokes, practical jokes. Einmal haben sie abgenarrt a Dorfsjid, a Händler von Chaserhor, a Jid, an Almen, a Tam und a der Schlagener, und ihm eingerät, als sie haben a Schiddach für ihm. Once they fooled a village fellow, a merchant of boar hair, a widower, a simple man, and a beaten down person, an unhappy person. And they convinced him that they have a match for him. Aber anstatt mit der Kalle haben sie dem Almen zu neu geführt mit der jungen Schindelmacher. Was hat sich übergetan in weiberische Kleider. But instead of a bride, they brought to the widower a young shingle maker who put on women's clothing. Sie haben dem abgenarrten Jid gegeben a Zunamen, Leipziger Kalle. Und bei dem Namen ist geblieben. They gave a nickname to this fellow. They started calling him the Dansk bride. Leipzig is Gdansk. And he ended up keeping that name. A zweiten Mal haben sie ausgeschmiert mit Tint die weiße Kleider von etliche städtische balabatische Mädlich, wenn jene seine gestanden mit Lichtlich in die Hand bei a Chuppe von sehr Chaverte. Another time, they smeared ink on the white gowns of several of the women, the girls, the Balabatish girls, the middle class, let's say, girls, when they were standing carrying candles in their hands at a chuppah, a wedding ceremony of one of their friends. Those wedding ceremonies were often at night, so they'd be carrying candles. Einmal is a viele gekommen zu ein Unglück. Once their pranks even ended in misfortune. In a Shabbos Batag, wenn die Schindelmacher haben gepravet a Huljanke, hat einer Aletz weggeruckt bei sein Chaver das Benkel, a welchen jener is gesessen. One Saturday in the daytime, when the shingle makers were doing their hulyanka, they were doing their rowdy stuff, one prankster pulled away the chair of his friend on which the friend was sitting. Der Fall ist gewesen als fataler, als der Gelittener hat gebrochen Ruck und Lend und ist später gestorben. This situation was such a fatal one that the suffering soul broke his back and his hip, and he died later.
Sorry, Julianke is not a party?
Well, yeah, hulyanka is just a hulyan is to enjoy yourself. So a hulyanka, yeah, it's a party. Yeah, a party. They were having a party. Yeah.
May I ask a question? This is
sure.
Little to do with the story, except that you talked about the Hitler mit Seidene Bänder.
Yeah.
Now, my father hab gesagt wegen a Mensch in von sehr kleine Städtel, was heißt Sender mit der Bänder. Hat a Hitler mit strickelig und buttons. I can't think of the word for. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll say it in English. The buttons and everything like that. He called it a chichitabuba. His hat was his chichitabuba, and they called him Sender mit the Bender.
Okay.
So is this a common thing?
I don't think it was all that common, but there. It wasn't the standard Jewish form of dress, but it must have been a standard Polish form of dress. You see it in England also. There's the song from around 1900, "All around my hat I will wear a green ribbon." So putting ribbons on hats is widespread, I should think.
And the word chichitabuba does make any. It's not Yiddish, I don't think. But
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Excuse my interruption.
That's all right. Now we're at the bottom of 243. Die Schindelmacher haben nicht nur ungerät Bochum in Städtel gegen Gott und dem Kaiser, nor euch junge Leitlich, Tates von Kindern. The shingle makers didn't only draw the youth in the town away from God and away from the Tsar, also the young folk who were already fathers of children. Azoi haben sie reingenommen in die Hand rein, einem frommen städtischen Schindelmacher, und ihm azoi aufgeklärt, als der junge Mann ist weg in Amerika und zugeschickt eine Fotografie von sich mit der gegolter Bohr. They so took into their hands one pious shingle maker of the town, and they enlightened him to the point that this young fellow went off to America, and then he sent a picture of himself with his beard shorn off. Dabei hat in sein Brief zu Weib und Kinder nicht geschämt, sich moide zu sein, als arbeitet im Shabbos. And in his letter to his wife and his children, he was not ashamed to admit that he was working on Shabbos. Das Ärgste ist gewesen, was sein Weib ist gefahren in Amerika zu ihrem Mann, dem Machal Shabbosnik. The worst thing was, from the point of view of the town, I guess, that his wife traveled off to America to her husband, this fellow who was violating the Shabbos. Euch bei die Goyim hat sich verspreit, Hefkoras und Zerlosenkeit. Und reingeführt hat sie nicht kein anderer wie der Srore von Stettel, der Richter Christowski. Also by the non-Jews, there was spreading lawlessness and How many translate Zelosenkeit?
Same thing. Zelosenkeit and Hefteris is the same thing. It's
Yeah, it's looseness
synonyms.
of morals, moral laxity.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and no other than the prince who ran the lord who ran the little town, no other than he was the one who brought it about, the judge Christowski. Die Meises gewen, was Ott der Poritz en Almen hat sich verliebt in Varsha in a Komödiantke, a Zirkfrei. The story was that this nobleman, a widower, fell in love in Warsaw with a woman comedian, a comedienne, a woman who worked in the circus, und Chasene gehat mit ihr and married her. Gegen dem Willen von sein Mutter und andere Kräuvim, Yiches dicke Schlachtes. This was against the desires of his mother and his other relatives, the pedigreed, Schlachte is another word for nobleman, I think.
Yeah, Schlachtes is nobility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schlachte is princely station, barony or dukedom, yeah. Ot die Zirk verschointe hat herabgebracht in Häuf alle ihre Kräuvim, Komödianten eins und eins. This person of the circus brought down into her court all of her relatives, all of them comedians, one after the other. Euch allerlei Akteuren und Leitzim, also all sorts of actors and pranksters. Die Leid haben sich narrisch gemacht, abgetan allerlei Leitzanes und Schmadstick. These folks they made themselves as if they were fools. They played around. They did all sorts of tricks, and now Schmadstick also means dirty tricks. Sie haben euch ausgebaut a Spielplatz mit allerlei Zirkkunsten und Verweilungen, a welche die polnische Schkotzim und Schickses seien sich zu Neuf gekommen. They also built a place for putting on performances with all sorts of circus tricks and amusements, to which the Polish lads and lasses came up. They came together. Der Galech von Stettel hat gestürmt gegen den Poritz Christowski, für sein Schiedech, für seine Wegschleppen die fromme Jugend von Kirchen und zuziehen sie zu Verweilungen und Letzones. The priest of the town stormed against Lord Christowski, both for his marriage, also for drawing away the pious youth away from the church and drawing the youth to parties and tricks. Aber der Poritz an Apikoris hat gelacht von Galach's drushes und Musar. But the Lord, who was a free thinker, he just laughed at the priest's sermons and scolding. Man hat euch gesagt, als der Richter Christowski is eins mit die Leid, was reden auf den Kaiser. Und der Vertake hat das früher gehabt, herabgebracht, die Maljares von Varsha. They also said that this Judge Christowski was one of those fellows who spoke against the Tsar. And that's exactly why he had previously brought the malarias from Warsaw. Now, what's a malaria? Is it malaria?
Maybe that's what he calls them, illnesses, because those bad people.
Figuratively calling them malarias.
Yeah, right.
I'm just looking it up. Malaria just means malaria. It's the illness malaria. Yeah, malaria.
Kadachis.
Yeah, kadachis. Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Auf die Yaridim in Stettel ist oft gekommen zu Geschlägen und Merides at the markets, the market days in the town. It often came to blows and to now Merida is defection. It's rebellion.
Rebellion, yeah.
Rebellion, yeah. Es seien euch gewesen a paar Ziches. There also were a few murders. Einmal hat der Schegitz der Harget sein eigenem Vater mit der Hack. Der Fahr, was der Vater, a Wächter in Wald, hat ihm, dem Sohn seinem, nicht gelost, ganvinnen a Forelholz. Once, a non-Jewish fellow killed his own father with an axe because the father, who was a forest guard, had not allowed his son to steal a wagon of full of timber. Noch ein Mord hat sich behalten in a Kartoffelkeller bei sich in Haus. After this murder, the son hid himself in the potato cellar in his house. A bissel später haben Schkotzim der Harget a Yiddish Porfolk in Wald. A little bit later, some non-Jewish lads killed a Jewish man and wife in the forest. Bei Nacht seien sie rein in Stiebel von Waldschreiber, Reb Moshe Kruk, und mit Heck, der Harget ihm und sein Weib. It was at night. They came into the little house of the Waldschreiber. He's the ledger keeper of the forest. He keeps the accounts, the accountant. His name was Reb Moshe Kruk. And with axes, they killed him and his wife. Ottiretzicha hat das ganze Städtel reingeworfen in Pachet. This murder threw the entire town into a fearful state. Man hat gut gekannt dem alten Moshe und sein Weib. Stille, ruhige Menschen, was haben gelebt wie die Teiblach. Everyone well knew this old Moshe and his wife. They were quiet, peaceful people who lived like doves. Euch die Rotzchim hat man gleich gehabt, weil sie haben übergelost Simonim von ihrer Stiefel in der Erde. Also, the murderers were quickly caught because they had left tracks of their boots in the mud. Aber die Retzicher hat reingeworfen in a Pachet alle Jeden von Städtel und in die Dörfer herum. But this murder threw a fear into all of the Jews of the Städtel and the surrounding villages. Die Schreck ist gewesen so groß, als wenn in einem Tag haben sich bewiesen etliche zendlich russische Arbeiter in Reute Hemdlich, Katzapes, was haben gearbeitet in die nahen Forten, hat man genommen verhacken Tieren teuer, seien dich sicher, als es hebt sich an. The fear was so great that one day appeared several dozen Russian workers wearing red shirts. These actually were katsapis. Katsap is a derogatory term just for a Russian. Looking it up, yeah, a Russian.
Yeah.
Who were working in the nearby forts. When this happened, people started shuttering, closing and barring, door and gate, being certain that it's starting already, that is worried about a pogrom. Die Kremer, was flogen voren kein Warsche nach Scheures, haben gebracht fantastische Neuessen wegen Demonstratius, Barrikaden. The merchants who used to travel to Warsaw for merchandise, they brought fantastic news about demonstrations and barricades. Wegen Jungeleit und Mädlach, was gehen herum mit Reute Fenner und singen Lieder gegen Kaiser. Stories about young folks, men, boys and girls, who were going around with red flags and singing songs against the Tsar. Wegen Soldaten was stechen Menschen in die Gassen. Stories about soldiers who were bayoneting people in the streets. Wegen a moid in a roit kleid was is die älteste über alle Mordim, concerning a woman wearing a red dress who was the leader of all of the rebels. Wegen Achtislight. Is that Achtis? Yeah, I guess Achtislight.
Maybe Union or United. Or
yeah, it's the word is to unite. Okay, these are people of a group called Achtis, I assume, of United.
Yeah.
Was begraben nicht sehr Gefallene in Tachrichim, nor in Reute Fenner, who would bury those of them who had fallen not in burial shrouds, but in red flags. Wegen Apokorsim, was sagen, as der Mensch hat nicht kein Neshama, nor Elektria, about non-believers who were saying that a person doesn't have a soul, it's all electricity. Und wenn die Elektria geht aus, stirbt man. And when the electricity disappears, you die. Wegen andere Apokorsim, was teinen, als nicht ein Abstammer von David ben Yishai is Mashiach, nor der Dr. Herzl, and other Apokorsim who claimed that the Messiah wouldn't be a descendant of David, it would rather be Dr. Herzl. Und als seine Leid wollen führen jeden in Eretz Yisrael, and that his people would bring the Jews to the land of Israel. Rachel.
Okay. Jeden pflegen sich noch mehr zusammendrücken in Besser-Medrash zwischen Mincha und Meirev, äußern die alle schreckliche Sachen. Jews used to all get together.
Yeah, cluster.
In the study house between the time of prayer, the Mincha prayer and the evening prayer, listening to all those terrifying things. Krächzen und Sifzen haben sich getrogen von dunkeln Gottshäusern. Sighing. Krächzen and Sifzen is the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Groaning and sighing. How's that?
Okay, groaning and sighing. Yeah. Thank you. It was heard out of the dark God's house. That's the synagogue. Bei meinem Vater ist schon kein Stoppek nicht gewesen in Mashiach's Ankommen in Yortasau. So my father had no doubt that the Messiah is about to come that year.
1906.
Okay. Jeden da seien die emesse Chavrei Mashiach, hat gesagt, Offerdiker. Noch das Jahr im Hashem werden mir geholfen werden. Jews, these are the real pains that we have to undergo before the coming of the Messiah. This is
the birth pangs of the Messiah.
What did you say?
The birth pangs of the Messiah.
Okay, yeah. Because according to tradition, before the Messiah comes, there will be a lot of suffering. So now this is that kind of suffering. He said, a hopeful. Already this year, God willing, we will be helped. Jeden haben geguckt auf jeden Wolken im Himmel, wie Ott, wird sich dort als Spalt beweisen und ein Basskoll wird ausrufen, als der Ketze ist da. Jews were looking at every cloud in the sky as if very, very soon there will be an opening will show, and there will be a voice heard that the end is here, the end of suffering. Der versteht der Rosh Hashanah zu dem, was Moschiach ist nicht gekommen.
Beginning of the next year, this would be in August or September of 1906.
Yeah. So they disturbed Rosh Hashanah because of the fact that Mashiach did not come. Der letzte Chodesh von Jahr Tasav is angekommen. The last month of the year, 1906, came. Like we are now.
Yeah,
There's-
Elul,
What did you say?
the month of Elul.
The month of Elul, yeah. Der Schofar hat geblasen, aber nicht der Schofar של Moschiach, nur der Schofar von Beis HaMidrash, auf welchen Baruch Wolf der Baltkia hat sich geübt in Blasen. So, the Schofar the Schofar hat geblasen.
Resounded, how's that?
Okay. Resounded, okay. It with the blasen, some strong in English. There was it was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, playing.
It blew.
Blue, yeah. Oh, blue is good, yeah. Blue, yeah. But it wasn't the shofar of the Messiah, but the shofar of the synagogue, on which the Rebbe Baruch Wolf, the one that was in charge of blowing the shofar, was blowing it. Mit jedem Tag mehr ist als die Spannung gewachsen. With every day that came, the hope was growing. Das Jahr 19...
Spannung is tension.
Tension? Thank you. I didn't know this word. Yeah, see? That's what happens when you don't do homework. Ja. Das Jahr Tarsav ist gekommen als Nenter und Nenter zu sein Sof. Aber Mashiach ist noch als nicht gewesen. The year 1906 was coming closer and closer to its end. But Mashiach still wasn't there. Mein Vater, der Gläuber, hat nicht verloren die Hoffnung. My father, the believer, did not lose the hope. Es ist noch als gewähnt Zeit. According to him, there was still time. In jedem Tag, in jeder Show, in jeder Rega kann sich Mashiach beweisen. On any day, at any hour, at any moment, could Mashiach show up. Die Tage haben sich gezeugen wie Ewigkeiten. The days were stretching like eternity. a ganzen Erev Rosh Hashanah haben Jeden als nicht aufgehört, gucken in den Himmel rein. Zuhören sich zu jedem Schorch. The whole eve of Rosh Hashanah, Jews did not stop to look into the sky to listen to any sound. Men hat geglaubt, als wie oft es trefft mit teure Gäste, was haben a Tefe zu beweisen sich in der letzten Minute, wenn man hat sich schon ausgeguckt, die Augen noch sehen, wird es euch treffen mit dem teuersten Gast Mashiach, als wird kommen zu der letzten Minute von Yotasau. So they were believing that just like it happens with very dear, I lost the place. 1 second.
The line
yeah.
starting with Oz.
Yeah, very dear visitors who tend to show up at the last minute already after the hosts were looking to see them. This will also happen with this very dear guest Mashiach, that he will come at the last minute of the year 1906. This is so tragic. Afile, wenn man ist gegangen in Besamidrash zu Mincha, hat man noch als gewahrt, bis es werden aufgehen, 3 Sterne im Himmel, ist noch als das alte Jahr von Tarsav und das Glück kann geschehen. Even when they were going to the synagogue to pray Mincha, they still were waiting until there would be 3 stars in the sky, and so it should still be the old year of 1906, and that great miracle, that great happiness of the coming of the Messiah can happen. But die Sterne haben sich bewiesen auf dem Himmel, auf dem wochendicken Himmel, was hat nicht anders ausgesehen wäre, seht euch in gewöhnliche Vernachten. But the stars show themselves in the sky in the sky already in the skies of the week.
I would say ordinary.
The ordinary.
In the ordinary
after
sky.
the holiday. Yeah, not the holiday sky, but the ordinary sky. That did not look any different than it was looking, than it looks usually in every other afternoon. After Vernacht, there's no English word for Vernacht.
Well, dusk.
Dusk, yeah, but it's not used. Not like in Yiddish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Auf dem Feld darum Besa Midrash od Großkis Chazirim Pasher getrieben ahem seine Dvorim Acherim. On the field around the synagogue, Groski, the guy that is tending the pigs, he was leading back to the house his pigs that were macherim, is a way to prevent saying them, because anything that is treif, not kosher. He was leading home his non-kosher things. That's the pigs. Alles ist gewesen wochedig und gewöhnlich und greu wie in alle Tage von Gottes. Everything was ordinary and regular and gray, just like all other days in diaspora. Mein Vater hat den letzten Blick gegeben zum Himmel und mit der zerbrochen Kohl geheißen Daven in Meiri. My father gave one last look at the sky, and with a broken voice, he instructed to pray the evening prayer. Der Baltfila hat Rosh Hashanah sich gezickelt bei dem Kihem Chayenu, und die Jüngler haben ihm zugeholfen mit sehr hofferdicke Ai. Aber das Singen hat kein Tam nicht gehabt. So the leader of the prayer sang the prayer Kihem Chayenu
with the Rosh Hashanah melody. Ki heim chayenu v'yarech yameinu
Yeah,
v'hem yomam v'layla. That melody.
yeah, but I know another melody. Hey, Kihem Chayenu ve'orech yameinu. Okay, and the and the voice helps him with the hopeful singing of ay. But this singing had no feeling to it, no time, no taste. It was dull. Also hat kein Tam nicht gehabt die Leshana Teufels, was ein jeder gewünscht dem anderen noch und davenen. Similarly, so there was no taste, no feeling to the wishes for a good year that one Jew was wishing another after the praying. I feel the moitzi was man had getrunken in Honig by we need to go in der Sude, hat nicht gehabt in sich die Süßkeit von Rosh Hashanah, die Vögel mit Honig. Even the moitzi, that is the bread that you make a brocha on. During the meal, these two did not have you put it in honey. It didn't have that kind of sweetness, the sweetness of food of Rosh Hashanah.
Now, why Feigl? I think I know.
Yeah, I was hoping that because a moitzi is bread.
Yes.
A moitzi lechem in haaretz, so it's a blessing on the bread. Vogel is a bird. So
Right.
so is it a chicken?
No. I think it's a special form of the challah, which is not made as a kolich on Rosh Hashanah. It's made in other forms. Now we make it round, but there is a custom, I think, of making it so that it has some of the appearance of a bird. And so it's the
Oh,
special form of the challah for Rosh Hashanah. That's my guess.
oh my God. How do you know that? Where from?
Well, I know that the Sephardim have their own traditions for different holidays of how you form the challah.
I see.
And
I
I
I
know
see.
that, if, for example, there's a ladder. Now, what holiday would you make it like a ladder? I don't know. Shavuos? I don't remember. But maybe there is such a form of a foigle for Shabbos. I mean, for Rosh Hashanah.
Okay. Okay. Eden seinen Gewinn enttäuscht, zerrudert, Jews were disappointed and upset. Enttäuschter und zerruderte von alle ist gewesen mein Vater. More disappointed and more upset than anybody else was my father. Hat sich geschämt, he was ashamed. Geschämt sich für die Balebatim, für mir, für der Mama und für sich allein. He was ashamed of the middle class Jews, he was ashamed of me, ashamed of my mother, and ashamed of himself.
Okay, I found the reference to the bird shape. Bird
Interesting.
challah. Just before Yom Kippur, another challah shape appears on some of our tables before the fast. Challah shaped like a bird, inspired by Yeshayahu 31, in which God is said to protect Jerusalem like a mother bird hovering over her chicks.
Okay, thank you. Ich bin gewesen base, verbittert. I was angry and bitter. Ois Eretz Israel, ois Shorabar, Abo und Liviosen, ois Knecht und Diensten. Out the land of Israel. It's out of
Out of the question now.
out of question now. Out the good food that we were going to eat when Messiah comes. That's the ox, the wild ox, and the fish or the whale. The tradition says we will eat when Messiah comes. Out is the question of us having slaves and servants. Wieder seinen gewähnt die Samen von Ländchen, das verschmutzigte Feld herum besser Midrash, auf welchen es haben sich gepaschet Chaserim unter der Aufsicht von Grotzkis Schegetz. Der was hat verschwächt das kleine Sefer Teurele. This is again there were the sands of Lenchen, the dirty fields around the synagogue, on which there were grazing pigs under the watch of that Grotsky Goy, he who stole the little Sefer Torah, and I guess threw it in the river. Wieder seinen gewinn die ewige Goyim und die Schkotzim und seine Hint, die Sonne von jüdischer Englisch. Again there were those eternally living non-Jews, Goyim und die Schkotzim. It's the same again.
Adults and youngsters.
Adults and youngsters, okay. Okay, Schkotzim, yeah, youngster. Yeah, okay, like Shagets, okay. And the dogs, the haters of Jewish boys. Der Chasen im Besamidrash hat besonders sich gegossen in Gewinn beim Ufchen Tenfach Decha. The cantor in the synagogue particularly or separately burst out into crying when he sang this prayer. Well,
Uv'chein
in still your
tinpachtecho,
fear.
Adonai Elokeinu, al kol ma'asecha. It's that one.
This is my class for next time. Can I hire you as a private
Yeah,
teacher?
I
Yeah,
daven the Rosh Hashanah and the Yom Kippur davening by our shul.
really?
Yeah,
You're the Batfila?
I'm one of several.
I'm coming to here.
It's on live stream.
Okay.
So uv'chein tinpachtecha, and therefore let your fear
Ja,
reside. Yeah.
ja. Aber ich hab nicht geglaubt mehr in Ort der Tfille, als Gott wird anschicken sein Pachad auf alle Völker und geben Covid zu sein Volk durch Jeschais Sohn, sein Messias, in unsere Tage. So, but I did not believe anymore in this prayer that God will instill his fear into all other nationalities and will show honor, respect to his people through the son of Yishai. That's that's the Mashiach, his Mashiach in our days. Ich habe allerlei sinnliche Gedanken gehabt bei der Rosh Hashanah der 18. I had all kinds of sinful thoughts when it came to the prayer, the 18 prayer of Rosh Hashanah. Wenn es ist gekommen zu Schafablosen und man hat gedacht, sagen die Jehirotzen zu den Malochim, sie sollen bringen die Tkias von jedem zu Gottes Kisse a Covid, hat mich der Yetzirah angerät zu a schrecklicher Sache. So, when it came to blowing the shofar, and we had to say, I lost it. You hear to say, to say to the angels, may their will be that that they should bring the blowing of the shofar of the Jews to God's to God's throne. Then the evil inclination convinced me to do a terrible thing. Die Meise ist gewesen, was sie in mein Machter ist gewesen, abgedruckt a Wohnung, als beim Sagen die Jehirotzens, soll man sein stark abgehielt nicht anzurufen beim Namen dem Sarschel Esch, dem Memune über Feier, weil ob man wird dem Malach ja anrufen bei seinem Namen, kämen Cholile Chorov machen die ganze Welt. Ja, ich weiß mehr. Ja,
Das habe ich keinmal nicht gesehen.
yeah. The story was that in my prayer book for the holiday, there was printed a warning that by saying this prayer, one should be very careful not call by his name the minister of fire, like the one who's charged to oversee fire, because if you call him that angel, now he's an angel, you call that angel by his name, one can, God forbid, destroy the entire world. Ich gedenk noch bis heim die Wohnung. I remember to this day, this warning. היזהר והיזהר שלא להזכיר את שם שר האיש המלאך הנורא. This is all Hebrew. שלא להחריב חס ושלום את העולם. Be careful not to not to mention the name of the minister, of the fire minister, that terrible angel, so that you won't destroy, God forbid, the world. Mich hat schon lang gehad gezeugen dazu. Ich soll ja anrufen dem Namen von dem feierdicken Maler. I was drawn to this for a long time already, that I should call the name of this angel of fire. Die Welt ist gewesen in meine Hand. Ich habe sie gekannt lassen stehen, wie sie steht, schon also 5660 Jahre und ein Tag, und ich habe sie gekannt Chorev machen in der Rege. Wie noch ich will erreuen dem schweren Namen von dem Malach של Esch. The world was in my hands. Yeah. I was able to let it stay the way it is now. The way it has been 5,660 years in a day, or I also was able to destroy it in a minute, right at the moment that I'll utter the terrible name of that fire angel out of my mouth. Aber ich habe mich eingehalten mit eiserne Zwangen, das nicht zu tun. But I was controlling myself, strictly with very strong
with iron force or iron tongs.
Iron force, not to do it. Bei meinem ganzen Cheshek zu sehen, wie soll die Welt wird Chore werden, habe ich aber gewusst, als ich will sein, eine von alle, was werden verbrennt werden in der Weltschreife, und ich habe mir gehit die Beine. With my great desire to see how the world is going to be destroyed, I also knew that I too will be one of those that will be burned up in that world fire. And so I was watching my bones.
Yeah, that's an expression, hitting die Beine. I was very careful.
Yeah. In Rosh Hashanah von Tarsav is there.
Tarsaz.
Tarsaz, der Gläubenmeiner, in dem was steht geschrieben, das vor ihm stark zu Nisok gewohnt. In that year, my belief in what's written in the book got weakened. Alles vor ihm haben gegeben Remosim auf Mashiach, und ist nicht gekommen. All the books were giving hints about Mashiach, and he didn't come. Zu Libnem is euch das Leben nicht gewinnt mehr so gut und süß wie früher. Therefore, the life wasn't anymore so good and sweet like it was before. Und ich habe eingestellt, and I gambled, eingestellt. I put it to the test.
Yeah, it could be. It could mean to set in order, to defend oneself, to enter into danger. It's not clear yet.
Einstellen das Leben ist to einstellen das Leben, for instance, is to risk.
Yes.
Oh, I risked. I risked. That's what it is.
Okay.
And I risked. Trotz nicht gläubig so stark in der Wohnung, ob ich aber noch als Meure gehabt vor ihr. Even though I did not believe much in that warning, I still was afraid of it. Still, keiner soll nicht hören, von mit Pachad und Neugierigkeit zusammen, bewarten dich das Ärgste, ob ich angerufen beim Namen der Malach von Feier. Vermachen dich dabei die Augen, ich soll nicht sehen dem Chorben, was wird gleich der Ruf ankommen wie ein schrecklicher Donner vom Himmel. Okay. Quietly, nobody should hear, full of fear and curiosity at the same time, awaiting the worst. I called the fire angel by his name. While doing that, closing my eyes, so that I shouldn't see the destruction that's gonna happen. It's going to happen like a very strong
Fearful thunder.
Thunder from Himmel. Donner is not more like a synonym for a mumble. Donner is when it's done.
No, Donner is thunder.
Thunder, okay. A Weile habe ich gewahrt, sendig mit meinen geschlossenen Augen auf flammige Rotkeit vor sich. For a moment I waited. When I saw, while seeing with my closed eyes, a flaming red in front of me. Wenn ich habe sie geöffnet und gesehen, als wie früher, habe ich früher
Freier.
Ob ich freier abgetempt.
Abgeatmet.
Ob ich freier abgeatmet, ja. Wie ich wohl eine schreckliche Katastrophe ausgemitten. When I opened them and I saw everything the same as before, I already breathed more freely, as if I avoided a terrible catastrophe. Ich bin gewinn ganz, die Jiden in Schul seinen gewinn ganz. I was whole, I wasn't destroyed, I was whole. Just like all the Jews were whole. They weren't hurt. Aber mein Glauben in this forum is nicht given ganz, but my belief in the books wasn't whole. In die freudige Spalten von Zweige seinen Itztiefe brochen gewesen. In the former holes of doubts, now those little holes of doubts became deep breaks. So our doubts got bigger, greater. Das erste Mal habe ich geguckt auf die Kohanim bei sehr Duchenen, agam mich geworden, das nicht zu tun, weil ich kann noch blind werden. The first time I was looking at the priest at the carrying the ceremony, even though I was warned not to do that because I can still become blind. Rebbe Feuer.
Okay,
Ja,
well done. Nach die Yom Naraim haben sich ungeheuben schwere Tag in Städtel. After the high holidays, difficult days began in the town. Herbstige Regens haben gegossen von die bleienden Himmeln. Wir sind gelegen niedrig und verscheppert sich in die wolkendicke Bämer. Autumn rains poured down from the leaden skies, which were lying low and even touching the beclouded trees. Joshua Glusker, was hat nicht gehabt kein Cheshek zu verrichten dem Dach seinem, gläubendike Mashiachs kommen, hat in Regen gelattet mit Schindeln die Lecher in zerfahrenem Dach. Yeshua Glusker, who had not had the energy or the feeling of desire to fix his roof, believing that the Messiah was coming, in the rain, he patched the holes of his roof with shingles, his roof that he had let go. Hat euch reingestellt neue Scheiben oder verlattet alte Scheiben in Yiddische Stiblach. He also set up new window panes, or he patched up old window panes in Jewish houses. Bei Ormeleit hat man die ausgebrochene Scheiben versteckt mit Schmattes. The poor folk fixed up their broken windows by stuffing them with rags. Die etliche Bochrim, was haben gedarft stehen zum Militär, haben gesagt Tilim bei Nacht in Beis Medrash und gesungen sehr Lieder. The several lads who were supposed to be conscripted into the army recited psalms at night in the synagogue, and they sang their songs. Besser geboren wären an der Hand, eder dienen von jes Land. Oi weh, bin schon verloren, es ist doch gleicher, me wird nicht geboren. It's better to be born without a hand than to serve in the Tsar's army, to serve Afonya's land. Oh, oy vey, I'm completely lost. It would be better not to have been born. Die goyische Prizivnikus oder Losovnikus, wie man hat sie bei uns gerufen, haben geschickert, gehuliert, vercheppet jeden in Gas. The non-Jewish conscripts, who were called Losovnikus, they got drunk, they partied, and they bothered the Jews in the streets. Jeden sind gegangen, ein geheukerte most likely in, there's something wrong here with this spelling here.
Mhm.
In und von Beis Medrash. Okay, it's okay. They went, fellow Jews walked around bent over both into and out of the synagogue.
Mhm.
Affenstädtel hat gedrückt a schwere Morschreure, was ist noch gewinn schwerer und der träglicher über die frühere dicke lichtige Hoffnungen. On the town was pressing a heavy depression, which was even worse and unbearable because of the previous bright hope. Gebeugener von alle andere is herumgegangen mein Tate. More bent over than all the others was my father walking about. Hat avade nicht aufgehört gläubere Mashiachen wie Tomed. Aber das, was der Ausleser ist nicht gekommen in Tarsav, in Jahr von die schwere Chevle Mashiach, in Jahr auf welchen seinen gewinn alle Ramosim in der Welt, hat ihm stark gepeinigt. He certainly didn't stop believing in the arrival of the Messiah, as always, but the fact that the Redeemer had not come in the year Tarsav, in the year of the deep pains, birth pangs of the Messiah, in the year in which there were all the hints in the world, that tortured him. Eure Beine Shalom, Tate der Barmdicker, wie viel ist der Schier zu leiden? Hat gefragt beim Statedicken Himmel, Schmatedicken Himmel, was hat nicht aufgehört treffen. Oh, Master of the Universe, dear, merciful Father, what's the limit to suffering? He asked at the rag-like sky. How about ragged sky, which never stopped dripping